Hey guys, Naomi here from the Rapid Renovation Formula. So, you want to jump into the renovating game, but you don't think that you have enough borrowing power. You're looking to renovate for wealth, but you're not sure you have enough time to be hands-on. Or are you trying to find a way to reduce your monetary risk before you even start renovating? Yep, Australia has some of the major cities around the world that are becoming more and more expensive to live in. So property's going crazy in places like Sydney right now, yeah? And if you're wanting to renovate a 3-bedroom home there for a young family and make it a solid strategy, the price point might just be that little bit outside of what you're wanting to do, which can sometimes make realising this dream of renovating feel like a bit of a stretch for you. And coming up with such a huge deposit and then the stamp duty, oh my gosh, it can feel so painful. Well, lucky for you, of course, there is a way to start renovating for wealth even if the bank won't lend you the money or as much money as you need. Or even if you don't want to throw all your savings into this one renovation project and it has nothing to do with getting into crazy debt. The solution is partnering or joint venturing. So what is this? To put it simply, a joint venture or a partnering relationship is a business relationship between you and someone else. It can be just you and one other person or more, where you agree to pool together your resources to achieve your specific goal. So, if you had your eye on that 3-bedder, which was right for renovating, but you don't have enough sitting in your savings account or enough serviceability for a loan, then a joint venture or a partnering opportunity will give you that chance to acquire and renovate that house together with someone else who also wants to be renovating to create wealth. So you're both going to be in the project together with the same end goal to make a good profit, right? Sounds simple, right? Well, it can definitely be simple as long as you do it correctly. Joint ventures are such a great way to get into renovating business, and it can be a great way to reduce your financial stress of the entire exercise. But in order to enjoy the benefits of a good joint venture, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. And the first one is keeping it legal. Okay, so many people, before you start shaking hands and making agreements over beer or wine, it needs to be in writing. I know that so many are going, but it's with my best friend or my brother or my cousin or someone else that I'm super, super close to, but it's going to feel weird to have a legal arrangement. You know, after all, you might be close to them and you might have mutual trust, right? But things can change. I want you to think about it this way. If you're planning, for example, to renovate and hold or rent out the property, this usually implies a little bit more of a long-term agreement. Perhaps over the next year or decade, things might change for you and your partner. Now, I don't mean that you guys will have a falling out or anything, but as time goes by, people find themselves in different circumstances. Your best friend might get married, they might have a baby, your family member might get divorced, your cousin might lose their job or decide to move overseas on a great adventure. There are so many possibilities, and all of these can pop up at any point in time, which means that to have the right joint venture agreement and partner, you need to have it set up properly. Now that is when your rock solid legal document comes into play. This little baby will save you so much hassle trying to divide assets later down the track. So necessary paperwork before you jump into a partnering agreement or a joint venture of any kind is essential. Now, the second one is, at this point, to know all about your strategy. Now, I'm not talking about your renovating strategy, which I often speak about. The kind of strategy I'm talking about is really what you're looking for out of this joint venture. Although it's still handy to obviously reassess and tweak your property strategy as you go along and maybe to suit your joint venture. But strategy is all about you and the partner that you're working with. Are you okay with being joined at the hip forever? If not, then I probably wouldn't look at a buy and hold. Are you both looking to just use some additional cash that you have lying around, or some additional high serviceability that you have for, say, the next 12 months to get in, renovate some properties, sell them on and move out? Or are you looking to work together to offset some capital loss that you may have in a company or a trust? So this is on top of your renovation strategy. This is actually a strategy for you and the partner that you're working with, or the joint venture that you're working with. And the third one, the capital and the borrowing power. The third point is all about money. In particular, how much money you can access to contribute to the renovation project. Do you have some healthy savings that you want to inject into the renovation funds? Do you know how much the bank is willing to borrow you, or a private lender? Have you got enough left over from that to then actually live? Renovating for wealth is about using your equity, your cash, or your serviceability of a loan to renovate and earn a profit at the end of the day. It's not about going into an estate of extreme frugal living where all you eat for dinner is spaghetti from a can because it's all you can throw down with the money you've got left over. You're in the business of renovating for wealth, not for renovating to live like a pauper in the meantime. So if you don't have enough money to put down for a deposit or stamp duty or the renovation costs, you'll want to be teaming up with someone who will make up the gap and someone who does. Now, speaking of the gap, the fourth thing is time and skill. Joint ventures aren't just about finding someone who has capital to help you secure a renovation project. In some cases it is, but you might actually have the money that you need to jump in renovating, but you don't have the time. Or on the other hand, it could be a completely different story. You might have the time, but you don't have the confidence or the skill that's needed for renovating. And that's where finding a joint venture comes in really handy. The great thing about doing a joint venture with someone is that you can team up with people to create a renovating powerhouse. One of the things might be you're not great with numbers or budgeting. The other person might be really great at keeping organised and making sure that things run to schedule. And there's always the added benefit of bouncing ideas off someone who is invested and committed to the project. So as long as you have all of these things of who's doing what, of who's providing what, of how the profit will be split in the nitty-gritty legal contract that I mentioned up in point 1, you will be on the right path to having a satisfying and profitable joint venture. So on that one, happy renovating. Thanks for joining me. Did you know I wrote a book all about renovating to create wealth and freedom in your life? I've added the link below in the description for you. Enjoy.